Thor, Love and Thunder is once again directed by Taika Waititi, and it once again stars Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Christian Bale, Taika Waititi, and Tessa Thompson. And in the fourth film of the Thor franchise, Thor goes on a quest to save children from the evil Gore, the God Butcher. But while this is also happening, Jade Foster manages to wield Mjolnir, and he attempts to re-help his relationship and get back with her. Yes, the new Thor film is finally out. I saw it the other day. I'm going to be reviewing it now. I will say this, it's not as good as Ragnarok, but I'm not saying it's a bad movie at all. I think this is a very good MCU movie. Main thing for me was the story, most enough. It's a pretty cliched story with another hint of romance thanks to the Jane Foster Mighty Thor plotline, which I thought was pretty well done. Not as good as I wanted it to, though. The biggest improvement in this film is easily Jane and Thor's relationship. In the first two Thor films, there was so little chemistry there, but now they feel like a real couple, and it's not cringy. You want them to be together. And by the end, you actually do cry. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I do think that this romance was greatly improved. Acting and the dialogue really helped it as well. Natalie Portman actually did a fantastic job with this film. In the first two, she wasn't great, but in this, as I said, her chemistry with Chris Hemsworth is there. Of course, Chris Hemsworth does a great job as Thor. When is he never? And you just real feel for this relationship. And the chemistry with the other actors is great as well. But the standout performance for me was easily Christian Bale as Gore, the God Butcher. Gore is a great villain. Not really a fantastic motivation and backstory. I really think his backstory could have been explained a little bit better. But for what it was, I thought he was great. And I thought he was creepy. And he also had this sense of goofiness, which just added to it. There's one scene where he really traumatizes these children. And it's just horrible. He's just laughing. But Christian Bale, standout, absolutely excellent in this film. When has he never done a bad performance? The comedy works very well. I heard some people say, oh, it's not really that funny. I'm actually going to say a very big hot take. I think it's funnier than Thor Ragnarok.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I know, shock horror, but I don't care really. I thought this was a very funny film, and I personally really, really enjoyed it. And people are laughing all about the theatre, so I know I'm not the only one. The music, this may be a bit of a fandom guy coming in here because I do love Guns N' Roses. The soundtrack is mainly with Guns N' Roses music. The first battle, from Welcome to the Jungle's blasting out, and Sweet Child of Mine's going through the film. And I don't know, it just added to the scenes. This may be my fandom coming in here, but I don't care. I thought the music was great, added that brilliant tone to this film. And going into the action was great too, really entertaining. I really loved the fight in the Shadow Realm. That was a great scene. Also with some great cinematography. The effects in this are actually very good. Actually, I think the film looked really beautiful thanks to its special effects, and the cinematography with it too. I mentioned the Shadow Realm. That's pretty much 90% black and white, and it just looked amazing. It added this dark tone that this scene was going for. Plus, with Gore having a blast of a time, it was excellent in that scene. And I think the ending was a great way to end the film. The post-credit scene, especially the second one, kind of did really knock off some of the enjoyment and a bit of the emotion. But we'll get to that when all the scenes come out later in the month. As I said, this film does have some big positives. Main one was pacing. This film is just under 2 hours, and it felt like it flew by. And it felt like an hour. It felt like a short DVD film. And it was quite disappointing because it just went way too fast and a bit exhausting for me. Like, you're trying to process all this information and it just keeps going and going. And it's just like, slow down, please. It reminded me of The Rise of Skywalker a bit. But the problem is that film did have so much to cram into a 2.5 hour film. This one doesn't have as much, which I will give. But it just felt way too quick, and I didn't have time to process it much. And that was kind of the biggest problem with me. Another thing was Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians are in the trailer, and they are in this film. But they do absolutely nothing. They shoot a couple of guys, and then they just go. They're in the film for like 3 minutes. And I just wondered, well, why did you tease them in Endgame then being together? I was really excited to see the Guardians and Thor going on this adventure, having some nice, really fun banter. But there was nothing. It was just gone. And I was really disappointed with that. I expected them to have some nice interactions. And also, I did mention about Gore not having the best backstory and motivation. But for what he did have, and his motivation did make good sense, I just wish his backstory would have had a little bit more substance to it. And finally, Jade Foster. I'm not going to spoil what she has or anything, or what her ticking time bomb element is, because there is this sort of ticking time bomb element with her. But I just wish it would have had a bit more substance and relation to her, a bit more to her experiments. I'm not going to spoil anything, that's all I'm going to say. But I just think that her ticking time bomb element could have related more personal, if you get what I mean. If you've seen the film, you'll know what I mean. But overall, I thought Thor Love and Thunder was a great time at the cinema. It had an emotional story, finally a great romance, fantastic acting, fairly good characters, brilliant special effects and cinematography, fantastic action, and just popping music. But just apart from its really bad pacing, a bit of a weak character backstories, and some throwaway characters that were just wasted, unfortunately, characters that I really like, I still think this is a solid entry into the MCU. And if you're a fan of Thor or just the MCU as a whole, I think you'll have a great time with this film. I'm going to give Thor Love and Thunder a 7 out of 10. A worthy movie in the MCU. And I'm looking forward to see what they do with Thor in the future. But guys, thank you for watching this review. Next review is going to be Miss Marvel, the show. The final episode's out on Wednesday. Really excited for that. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'd go and see this film. If you do, let me know what you think of it. But have a good day. Make sure to like and subscribe. And see you later. Bye bye.